So are you like me, interested in these companies that just throw the marketing rule book out the window?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, buckle up because we are diving deep into liquid death.
Liquid death, yeah.
Um, yeah, the canned water people, but they're making waves. And honestly, they're acting more like some kind of like killer content studio than a water company.
Really?
Oh yeah, we're tapping into some like really interesting stuff here.
Uh-huh.
We've got excerpts from their CMO, Daniel Murphy. He was on the One Man Show podcast.
Okay.
And it's not your typical marketing guru like talking points.
True.
This guy went from like big time agencies, Satachi and Saatchi, even Google, to selling canned water. I mean, come on.
Wow, that's a jump.
Right. But what really got me was how he describes their whole marketing approach as a quote-unquote divorce.
A divorce. What does he mean by that?
Basically, they completely broke up with the traditional agency structure.
Interesting.
Yeah, like completely cut ties, went rogue, brought everything in-house, creative, the strategy, even the production. And apparently, it lets them move crazy fast.
So I imagine that means they can be super nimble and responsive with their campaigns.
Okay, so they ditched the whole agency thing for this lean, mean in-house machine, but what does that even look like in practice? What's the secret sauce? How are they turning campaigns around so fast?
Speed is key. It's approvals, back and forth. They can go from idea to actually putting it out there, sometimes in days, even hours.
Get out.
I know. While other companies are like stuck in boardrooms, Liquid Death is already testing ideas online, seeing what sticks, reacting in real time.
So they've traded in like the lumbering cruise ship for a speedboat.
100%. And in the digital world, speed is everything. You snooze, you lose, right?
Right. And it's not just about how fast, it's also the content itself.
Mm.
I mean, they've built this reputation, right? Edgy, disruptive, kind of shockingly funny for a water brand.
Yeah, and it's completely intentional. They believe their why is entertainment, not just, hey, buy our water.
Right.
You got to stand out, right?
When was the last time you enjoyed an ad?
Seriously, never. They actually call their internal team this meme machine. But how do you keep things consistent when you're just always chasing that viral moment?
Well, this is where their approach to talent comes in. They avoid traditional advertising people.
What?
Yeah. They bring in musicians, comedians. I think I even read somewhere they hired a metal drummer.
Oh, that's the secret sauce, I think. It's like all these different perspectives, which makes their content feel really raw and authentic.
So instead of suits, it's more like a writer's room. Maybe a comedy club vibe.
Right. But how does that translate to, actual marketing?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, take their Death to Plastic campaign. They had this whole merch line designed to look like heavy metal merch, but it had an environmental message. And then they partner with Tony Hawk.
No way, Tony Hawk.
Yeah, the skateboarder.
Oh, yeah.
To make a limited edition skateboard deck, they even gave away a plane as part of a promotion.
They gave away a plane.
Plane, see? Bold, unconventional.
But, I mean, it's still water. Are people really buying it just for the marketing?
That's just it. They tap into something much bigger. It's not about thirst. It's an attitude. It's a sense of humor, being different, not boring, rebelling against the everyday. It's experience-driven.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But I have to admit it still sounds a little chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
How do they make sure that the humor lands?
Yeah.
And how do they not just become another brand, yelling into the void?
Well, this is where the equity model comes in with the comedians they work with.
Okay.
It's like they're saying, look, we're not the funny ones. You are. Let's collaborate.
I love that.
So they give them creative freedom to do their thing, which leads to
Content. That's actually funny.
Exactly.
And relatable. People can smell a marketing ploy a mile away, but this feels different.
And it feels authentic, right?
Yeah.
Because it's coming from the comedians.
Right.
And that makes people want to share it. They're not just laughing.
It's like they've tapped into this currency of the internet.
Exactly. Shareable content that's worth more than any ad campaign.
Totally. But this whole thing about ditching the target audience, brand positioning, that's what gets me.
What do you mean?
Seems a bit all over the place, like just throwing stuff out there.
I get it. It seems that way, but there's a method to the madness.
Really?
They're not just making stuff up and hoping for the best. They get their audience, just not in the traditional way.
So no crunching numbers, like figuring out who the average customer is.
Nope. They look at psychographics, not demographics.
Psychographics, like what?
Shared values, beliefs, that sense of humor we talked about.
Their CMO literally said their target is thirsty and loves humor.
See?
It is catchy.
It sums it all up. They're not trying to be for everybody, just the people who get it, who like their style.
Okay, so there's a plan, but can you really build a whole brand without any traditional marketing?
It's not that they ignore it, they just use it differently. Think about their connected TV ads, the CTV stuff.
You mean those ads that interrupt my streaming shows?
Exactly. Most brands treat those like longer TV commercials, but Liquid Death, they get that people expect something different.
Shorter, faster, less annoying.
Exactly. They've adapted. They're not trying to cram their whole story into 30 seconds, just little impactful bits that make you want more.
So their ads are like mini comedies, like what you'd see on.
Well, that's where the SNL of beverages comparison comes in.
Kind of a bold statement, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. A little bit, but they're not saying they're the next big comedians or anything.
More like aiming for that level of, like, funny that shakes things up.
Exactly. Comedy's about risks, pushing boundaries. Sometimes you even offend some people.
That's the opposite of most advertising. Everything's so safe and boring.
Exactly. But can they keep it up? All this creative, edgy stuff, do they ever run out of steam?
It's like they're running a marketing marathon, but there's no finish line.
And they love it. That's the thing.
So how do they do it?
They're all about this test and scale thing.
Okay, in English, please.
It means they're not afraid to just try stuff, throw it out there, see what people respond to, and then bam, double down on what works.
So some things are going to flop.
Totally. And that's okay. That's how they learn.
You're saying, like, even failures are good.
They're data. Each flop helps them get better, figure out what the audience really wants.
So it's kind of like this high-stakes marketing game, but they're using data to their advantage.
Exactly. And they're so quick, so adaptable. While other brands are still planning, Liquid Death's already out there, making those connections.
It does sound almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
They make it look easy, but I bet there's a ton of work, a ton of strategy behind it all.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to just see the funny stuff, the viral moments, but there's a real plan there.
Yeah, you don't just accidentally build a brand like that.
Right. They've figured out how to be both random and calculated at the same time. It's kind of amazing.
So for the rest of us, trying to figure out this crazy marketing world, what's the takeaway? What can we learn from all this?
I think the big thing is the old rules. They're gone. People want real, they want creative, and yeah, maybe even a little chaos.
It's not enough to just have a catchy slogan anymore.
Nope. You got to take risks, be different, stand out.
Like Liquid Death. They've shown us you can win with humor, with really connecting with people, and maybe, just maybe, giving away a plane or two.
Why not?
Right. So next time you're grabbing a drink, ask yourself, what would Liquid Death do? You never know. It might just spark a revolution in your own marketing.